What's up guys, so I got to spend some time with Tecno's new Camon devices and I thought why not give you a first look at the Camon 40 and Camon 40 Pro. So let's get right into it. Starting with the design, for budget friendly devices I have to say they feel pretty well put together. The regular Camon 40 has a plastic frame and back with a glass front, no surprises there. The back has this textured pattern thing going on, which to be honest looks pretty good, and the camera design also looks nice. Tecno's calling it the swan neck design, okay, but I can see some people liking it and others not. The Pro model skips the rear pattern design for something more familiar, but gives us what feels like an aluminum frame. I say feels like because I'm not entirely sure, but it definitely does a good job of not feeling like plastic, which is a win anyways. Both devices are pretty light in the hand, which is great, but because of the huge camera goosebump thingy, they're gonna wobble a lot on the table. And yes, both devices have water resistance. The Camon 40 is IP66 certified, and the Pro steps it up to IP6A, which is honestly impressive at this price. So yeah, solid design overall. Now both phones come with a 6.7-inch 120Hz AMOLED display, and I gotta say, they look pretty good. Interestingly, the non-Pro model actually has thinner bezels than the Pro, which is kind of funny. But the biggest difference though is that the Camon 40 Pro has a curved display, while the regular Camon 40 sticks to a flat one. And look, I absolutely dig curved screens, okay? So the Pro definitely gets a win there for me. They're both protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 7i, which is nice. And while they're not the brightest screens under direct sunlight, I didn't find myself struggling too much either, so yeah, not bad at all. Alright, software. Both devices run Android 15 with Tecno's HiOS 15 straight out the box, and for my brief time with them, it feels pretty straightforward. There are some bloatware apps, but honestly not as much as previous Tecno devices, so that's a plus. The UI isn't complicated to use, but it doesn't feel as fast as I'd like. Now that may be a software issue or maybe a hardware limitation, so we'll get into that in the full review. Some cool features include always-on display, motion wallpapers, and Tecno's own AI assistant called Ella. We don't have an official word on software update yet, but I'm guessing 2 years of support, hopefully. Anyways, I'll hold my final thoughts on the software until I spend more time with it. Both devices come with 8GB of RAM and up to 256GB of storage, so they should handle everyday tasks pretty fine. Powering them is the MediaTek Helio G100 Ultimate, and from my quick experience, they did not feel super snappy, but again I'll reserve judgment until I get to test them properly. Oh, and yeah, stereo speakers a year, which is great. No headphone jack however, so if you use wired earphones, it's time to grab an adapter or just get wireless earbuds. Anyways, I'll hold off my final take until I get to test the performance properly. Now onto the cameras, which is probably the most important selling point of these devices. Both devices have a 50 megapixel main camera and an 8 megapixel ultra wide. But here's the difference. The Camon 40 Pro gets a 50 megapixel selfie camera, while the regular Camon 40 gets a 32 megapixel snapper. Now, first impressions of the photos, surprisingly good. Colors looked punchy, zoom wasn't bad, even though there's no dedicated zoom lens. And the ultra wide shots look pretty good. Interestingly, photos from the Pro looked slightly better than the regular model, even though they're supposed to have the same rear camera setup. I'm curious to see what's going on there. However, it's something that I'll check out on the full review. Both selfie cameras have autofocus and video recording has stabilization, but only at 1080p. However, you can record up to 2K resolution. For now, the cameras look promising, but I hope to test them out properly in the full review. Both phones pack a 5200 mAh battery and they support 45-watt fast charging, so getting a full day of use shouldn't be a problem. Pretty simple and effective. Alright, let's talk about the price. The Camon 40 at 8GB of RAM plus 128GB of ROM cost around 280,000 naira or $175. The Camon 40 Pro with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of ROM costs 360,000 naira or $250. And for this price, they seem like pretty solid deals, both of them. So that's my first look at the Tecno Camon 40 and 40 Pro. They look pretty good, they feel well built, and they offer decent cameras for the price. But the big question is, how do they perform in real world use? That's what we're gonna find out in the full review. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment, and I'll catch you in the next video.